welcome to another Elite Audio video, and I would say it's a unique and potential or possibly a rare event when a new product really captures my attention, imagination. Let's be honest, the audio world or the audiophile world is full of great amplifiers, great speakers, great cables, great source components, and it takes something very special to stand out from the mix. Are there any bad decisions? I think we all like everything that's very different, and I think that's one of the things that really makes this such a wonderful hobby to embrace. But anyway, this has kind of really caught my attention, and we have this on order waiting for it to arrive, but I couldn't wait to share it with you. That's genuinely how excited I am, and you'll understand why when I kind of go through what really sets this amplifier apart. Now, it's fair to say, with a background of COVID, past thankfully, or pretty much over, and things like Brexit that we've been trying to contend with, and generally worldwide a recession, different levels in different countries, but there is no question that there is a recession. And the other thing that has been hit very hard is the availability of manufacturing components, particularly on the audio side of manufacturing. Now, where we've seen that become apparent is from brands like Luxman, for example, who have discontinued all of their Class A products due to parts availability. Now, the interesting thing is some very clever manufacturers took the, I would say, opinion, or maybe even had some kind of intuitive thought that maybe some of these components will become rare, so we're going to stockpile them and make sure that we can deliver something that doesn't mean we have to discontinue. We can actually innovate and introduce. And this is what's happened with Grandinote. Now, Grandinote is a brand you may or may not be familiar with. Let's be honest, there's lots of brands. There's brands I've not heard of, and people say, oh, I've got a such and such, and I think, oh, I haven't heard of that, and I've got to go and look it up, and then you kind of look in the background and see what it's connected to, and often there is a web or even a chain of connected manufacturing, but it all falls back to one place. But the one thing about Grandinote is this is all their own design, their own manufacturing process. So Grandinote are an Italian company. If you go onto their website, there's lots of information about what they do. Primarily, they've been sort of hybrid valve designs. Now I bring you to the thing that's got me excited. Now, Munich was it's past, finished. It probably seems like a distant memory for those of you that were lucky enough to attend. But there were some great new things came from that. And one of those in the Grandinote room was the Grandinote Soul. Now, what is it that makes this amplifier exciting? It is pure Class A, 60 watts per channel. And I want to go through some of the going through technical specification. It's one aspect of an amplifier design, but whilst we can read and digest and try and comprehend what that means in a listening sense, and I'm always a great believer that, let's not get too hung up on spec, because ultimately what it sounds like is all that matters. And I've read about great amplifiers on paper, but they failed to produce that level of performance when we then get them into our listening room and think, oh, that's not what we expected, or whoa, that actually was even better than we expected. So my brother Gary, we've got a sister company, and he was in the Grandinote room, and the one thing I trust implicitly is my brother's listening ability. I think both Gary and I have got very musical backgrounds. Gary's background was more woodwind, mine was more stringed instruments, but ultimately we both share a passion for music and the reproduction of music, and therefore the products that we have in our business portfolios reflect that passion, because to us, this is all about making that emotional connection to something that is so cathartic. Listening to music is great. So if we can find ways to make that much more connected to the original recording, then it's transcendent. You know, let's put some of these big words out there. Transcendent is a word I would use with certain audio components, and based on what he's told me and based on what I'm now reading, I think this is going to be a transcendent component. Now, I've had to make some notes on this purely because there is a lot of information. I don't want to miss any, and I also want to explain actually what each part of this technical spec means actually in relation to what you're going to hear. So let me just quickly go through a couple of, I would say, salient points and then explain why that's important. So first of all, let's look at the design. It's beautiful. I'll bring up a picture so you'll see this floating around somewhere, my left, my right, who knows. Probably to the right hand side, I think, this is framed up. And yeah, the styling's beautiful. The build, I keep saying the word note, it's because I'm thinking Grandinote music. Anyway, the build quality, which is what I was trying to say, is outstanding. Gary's background, he's an electronics engineer, and the one thing I always remember when we've been at audio shows together in the past is Gary goes straight to the back panel, see how that's put together, looks at the connections they've used, then wants to look inside, see how it's all laid out, because you can tell a huge amount about the care and attention, and I would say the attention to detail that goes into any really outstanding audio component. So first of all, this gets a huge tick in that regard. Good to look at, so there's the first thing, beautifully made, absolutely no question. Best componentry, again, no question about that at all. So this is from Grandinote's own website, and they have obviously listed what they feel are very salient points about this amp. So one of these is the damping factor. Now, damping factor is probably one of those terms that a lot of us don't really pay attention to, because what does damping factor actually mean? So in kind of basic terms, damping factor is the means by which the amplifier can control the direct movement of the loudspeaker driver, the cone, so to speak. And so when the cone is moving, the higher the damping factor, the more control it can exert, meaning that the speaker doesn't get out of control. Now, there's more to it than just that, because obviously the speaker design has to be of a good standard with a strong enough magnet that the damping factor can exert its influence on how that speaker behaves. But in essence, the higher the damping factor, the more control, therefore the more coherent and holographic the sound will be, making the assumption, of course, that the speaker itself is up to the task. So let's assume that it is, that it's of a level that would be required for this amplifier. So in general, in fact, I took a printout from, I think it was the Kef website actually, because I was curious to see what other manufacturers had to say. If you bear me a second, I'm doing this live, so you know, clearly I could cut these bits out, but you know, sometimes it's quite nice to kind of fill the gaps. Yeah, it's on the Kef website. So they state that a good damping factor, you know, or anything that's acceptable would be in the region of about 50 to 100. So that's probably where you'll find most amplifiers. But you know, anything above that is going to be better, bigger number, better damping factor. So the first impressive figure is that this has got a damping factor of higher than 150, meaning that control is not something this amplifier is going to have any issues with. Secondly, it's got a frequency response from 2 Hz right up to 240 kHz, so beyond our ability to hear. Fully balanced, pure Class A. Now, no feedback. So what does that actually mean? Well, again, in simple terms, this means that you don't lose definition. or low frequency or high frequency response. So let me just quickly grab my notes on this as well. Should have these in the right order, actually. Haven't printed that one off, but I think, do you know what I've done? I've come in, I've left it on the printer, and it doesn't matter. It essentially means that no feedback improves both low frequency and high frequency responses, also impacting upon the definition and detail of the amplifier. But bear with me a second, I want to go and grab this off the printer because there's more in there than I'm actually telling you, so just bear with me 2 seconds, I'll be right back. Don't go away. One, two, three, and I'm back in the room as if by magic. Here we go. Right, so I've got my printout. I had left it on the printer, so I'll just read this again. This is of a manufacturer's website, explaining why no feedback or negative feedback improves the performance. So what it does, it improves gain stability, linearity, frequency response, step response. It also reduces sensitivity to parameter variations due to the manufacturing or environment. Because of these advantages, many amplifiers use negative or no feedback. So there you go. Improves gain stability and the linearity of the frequency response. So these are important aspects when it comes to amplification. What else have they got here? Here we are, direct coupled stages, so no capacitors used. So most manufacturers use capacitors in the coupling stages of an amplifier. The advantage of no coupling is also to do with frequency response. So when you have a capacitor based coupling stage, this actually reduces the low frequency response of the amplifier. So whilst your amplifier might be rated down to 2 Hz, it may only be able to output at a meaningful level something at 30, 35 or even 40 Hz depending on the capacitor that's used in the coupling stage. So again, you can kind of tell where this amplifier is going. It's all about the purity of the signal. Now, again, coming back to Munich, so this amplifier was set up in the Grandinote room with a set of Grandinote speakers, and based on what I've heard, it was one of the best sounding rooms of the show. So you can kind of, I'm pretty excited about us getting this amplifier here. It's definitely, I love a Class A amp. You know, outside valve amplification, I'd probably go Class A. But it's all about the application of it. You know, it's not, you can't just say, you know, oh, Class A amps are the best, Class AB, you need 1 kilowatt, or Class D doesn't work, it's not as good, and so on. There's so many misconceptions about the type of amplification. And the one thing I always say again is trust what you hear. Don't be swayed by another person's opinion. Trust your own listening experience. And it's interesting, I see this a lot in communications we have with clients where they're very, I would say, other people's opinions carry sway. And it's okay to seek the opinion of another person, but ultimately that's all it is. And it's like all these things, if we all like the same thing, we'd have the same amplifier, the same speakers, there'd be just a complete, monochromatic view of audio. There would be no variations, no colour, everything would lack sparkle. It's like someone likes a Vindaloo, someone likes a Kurma. It's all about what we personally prefer, and there is no right or wrong with this. So if you like something, that's great. Don't let anyone tell you it's no good, because that's their opinion, not your own. If you listen to something and it sounds great, don't let someone tell you it doesn't. Trust what you hear. So this is what I always say, trust what you hear. It's the most important thing of all. So yeah, naturally, I am pretty excited about us getting this amplifier here. Once it arrives, we'll unbox it, we'll get it set up, we'll do some more information, will produce more information based on hands-on listening. You can see if it matches to the expectation that's been created by my brother Gary, or it might even be better. I don't know. It's hard to say. I can't wait, and it's not that far off. I'll put a link to the website in the description section. There is a 15% pre-order offer. We don't offer 30-day money back on all our products, but on this we will. So you can pre-order, get your 30-day money back. We can have a chat about its suitability. Please phone, have a chat. If you're interested in this amplifier, it'd be great to talk to you why it might suit your system, or you can maybe establish if it might, and then we can take things from there. But so you can have this no risk, complete safety net of a 30-day money back. I say we don't do it in everything, but on this we will provide you with 30 days, and that'll give you a chance to evaluate it personally. If you like the idea of a classy amplifier, quite honestly, if it's even half as good as I've been led to believe it is, then this could be a great solution for you. And as always, it's such a great addition to the Elite Audio portfolio, because at the end of the day, we want to be giving you the best of the best of the best. It's the Top Gun of audio. That's where we need to be. So anyway, look, first of all, please like our YouTube channel, subscribe to it. The more subscribers, the better. It means we can put more content out, because we know there's more of you out there watching it. Give us some feedback, although this is negative feedback, so maybe you can't when it's about the solo. Who knows? Feedback, no feedback. But we know in an amplifier, no feedback means a good thing, especially if it's done properly. Like our Facebook page. But one thing that is really important, go to our webpage, subscribe to our newsletter, because in that newsletter you will get first dibs, choice to choose from, first look at any of our part exchange equipment. Graham hoards it until the newsletter is due to be produced, so no one gets to see it before you guys do as the subscribers. There's also exclusive newsletter offers we can't publish, but you can in the newsletter because it's going directly to you. So there's lots of great reasons to subscribe to our newsletter. If you're ever in the market for something new, have a look at the newsletter. It might just be in there and save you some money. That's ultimately a good thing. Right, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for indulging me in my enthusiasm for this Grandinote Soul amplifier. Remember, Grandinote Soul. Go to the Grandinote website, look at the reviews that have been done. I think there's some YouTube videos as well that you can watch. And I will look forward very much to talking to you again very soon. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.